Hello consumers of educational content. I'm back bringing you this new release. I hope you like it. I will. Live for myself now, I refuse. There to any place of learning. Again, these were the thoughts of her as she rode her horse together with her knight toward the best school of magic in the school of magic of the empire. Somewhat melancholic and pensive, the young man recalls his life before reincarnating as a sea of a renowned family. With this we can see that Proto was in fact a university graduate who, after leaving the place, is hit by our dear divinity. Making the protagonist truck when he opens his eyes quickly stops him with a small hand at the totally unknown place that leaves him confused. Confused because he thought he would have gone the afterlife. After accepting his new reality, he begins to live his new life throughout the years. Our youth dedicates himself to an intensive sword training, which leaves his knight thrilled because even as a young man he already thought about the future grown up, and with his goal frustrated by being sent to a school already on site, is frightened by the flow of people because he was informed that the entry of servants was forbidden, and next to him side an extra is irritated for not knowing how to do nothing without his helpers. Has the slightest warning, a blinding green light lights up the whole place. In the middle of the confusion, the little skull director appears and scares actor. Already in his place of study, he was stopped by a beautiful young woman with red hair. Red hair does not invite to talk to a prince during Blondie, and it is in this part that you must think that it will give. But as unbelievable as it may seem, the prince is a good person. The three amigos chat while walking down the hallway, but a lady with hair catches the eye of our boy's attention, admires her beauty and email to their director conversation. The little skull appears again without warning and surprises everyone as soon as he implies the content of his classes at the school causes spam. Look at the face of himself in the same place is presented a room with lots of food, gets everyone excited, but in fact it was an illusion for direct fun. The little skull loves to play tricks on our mentor Joker of video resources to the students while explaining the rules, how the division of the students would be done. Oh, that reminds Proto of his teacher. Before his reincarnation, the classes would be the vainglorious Dragon Tower. Blue here, Proto is part of the Tower of the Female, and it is at this time that our young entrepreneur already sees his future customers, but this is broken up with a malicious talk said by a group of extras. But with a few words he already loathes them. His place in the middle of the heavy in the reddish-haired young woman calls him, asks how she became friends with the prince. Then she tells him that his mother is paying her a good amount of money to keep an eye on him, and see that as an opportunity for easy money. Poor holding is seen as bank going to his new house. Everyone is startled by the construction, yes, but upon entering, the aspirant is bitterly surprised, for in truth that tower is like a portal connecting several dimensions inside the school. Arriving in his room, many students end up confused by how simple it is, but not. He himself was already used to it because of his old life. Happy with his new place, he goes to talk to his friend and asks her what her plans are, who soon says he wants to be an outman, which makes the shy because he only wants to be a government servant. And then the prince appears. And is scared, saying that things have been stolen from his room. But you probably already know why he says that. And look at his friends' faces the next day. The fleet is frightened by the next day, Froda is startled by the discouragement of everyone who is tired for not being used to a hard bed. But this is not the case of our. In the classroom, everyone is surprised by an oracle standing still, staring at them. After a brief explanation, we understand that this is actually the prophecy that makes an evil comment to terrify future Mars passing it. The scare, she applies a foot to see the mana control of everything, and after a few attempts, our wizard has a large reserve of mana. Implacable has a large reserve of mana that draws the attention of the teacher, who calls him to her classroom after class. The class already in the teacher's room, she warns him how this would affect him, and says, no matter how skull-like that he is, he cares about his own. After a conversation, she gives him a bracelet that would help him in the control of his grandiose, which makes the young man happy the next day. Next day, he meets up with his friend, who is astonished to discover that himself is part of a renowned family of ruthless wizards. New class, the two come across their alchemy teacher, who would be a nun. That would be a no that soon passes a task, and everyone sets off into the forest, Indiana, and attempt to complete their mission. The two friends seek the cooperation of A, who refuses, but after a few words from our major, he changes his mind. Entering the forest, the three find their test item, but come across the monster, and that's when he decides to show his skills, since the two ladies with great expectation, but it all ends when he gives a blow with his staff. This part here was very funny because it was something meaningless. Water. The two girls stare at him with a doubtful look, but he hears a plea for help not far away. The Silver Princess is in danger, so the distinguished wizard goes to help in order to achieve something by saving her. After his heroic act, little big man, not believing that he had defeated the monster by himself and still got the herb for the mission. Thus your group was the only one to pass the test. The teacher, satisfied with a young man dealing a free pass to his home in the right to use his spices, and makes him have an idea that is to make a barbecue with the helm, and in the middle of the process even rolls a reference with his goal and me. The three of them executive plan to make money by selling roast beef to the students, leaves the little professor amazed by the techniques of our major, who delivers more seasoning. After enjoying the banquet, they begin their sales, which makes the students suspicious, but soon surrenders to the taste of their cuisine. Back in the classroom, the principal stops the bone and gives it to the students with faith, but only he and another student try to. But in the end, only Proto was able to finish the test. Was to use his mana on a skin and write with it in another place in the school. The young wizard participates in another class, but with its difficult content, everyone is discouraged, except Proto, who tries tirelessly and ends up being able to control the sphere perfectly, and with that is more understanding about his abilities. After this, he meets up with his friends, and the three of them talk about the class, but apparently they don't understand anything. The next day, our magician puts his attention to fencing, but ends up being questioned that you are not worthy of being a wizard by a security guard. Reminds them of his training with their knight when he was young. The teacher, realizing the potential of the boy and knowing the guy who Proto trained, proposes a duel with. The two of them are left, and a duel is beginning with Figure goes on the attack, but Law counterattacks, throwing sand in his eyes, and then slashes with his sword that ritual that rolls the ground to deflect what makes Proto not understand anything but then his priorly calculated move, and inside goes on the attack. Even with himself defends, and the fight becomes an actor's duel, but in the end, for having a bigger mana reserve and for training from a young age, our wizard and sometimes seems like a female warrior. The name of this manhwa is Life of Magic. Every image, I hope I have spoken right as the Church of Pain. Hope you liked it. Leave your like, and see you next time.